Hello everyone, welcome back to Aspirants Point Navigator. Today, we are diving into a super important and exciting concept in mathematics, ratios and proportion. I'm going to show you some simple tricks to solve them quickly and easily. Ready? Let's get started. In mathematics, a ratio is a relationship between two numbers that shows how many times the first number contains the second. Ratios can be written in three common forms as a fraction using a colon or even with the word 2. Let's break them down. First, fraction form a by b. This is the fraction form of the ratio. Next, a is to b. This is the colon form and it's probably the most common way you will see ratios written. Next, word form A to B, like saying 3 to 1 when talking about a race where 3 racers beat 1. Let's take an example. Imagine you have 6 boys and 3 girls in a class. How do we express this ratio? In fraction form, it's 6 by 3. In colon form, it's 6 is to 3. In word form, it's 6 to 3. Notice something important. We can simplify ratios just like fractions. Let's simplify this ratio. If we divide both numbers by 3, we get 2 is to 1. So, simplified ratios of boys to girls is 2 is to 1. Let's try another one. Simplify the ratio A is to B, 25 is to 50. To simplify, we need to find the greatest common divisor, which in this case is 25. So, divide both parts by 25. 25 ones are 25, 25 twos are 50. So, the simplified ratio is 1 is to 2. Alright, now let's tackle a little problem. If 12a is equal to 4b, what is the ratio of a is to b? We start with 12a and 4b. We can write it as 12a is to 4b. Now, let's simplify this ratio by dividing both sides by 4. So, the ratio is to b equals 1 is to 3. Now, let's step things up a bit. If a is to b equals 4 is to 6 and b is to c equals 2 is to 4, how can we find the combined ratio of a is to b is to c? Here is the trick. We need to make sure the b values match. To do that, we multiply both sides of the first ratio by 3 to make b equals to 6 and both sides of the second ratio by 3 as well. Now, we have a is to b equals 4 is to 6. B is to c equals 6 is to 12. So the combined ratio is A is to B is to C equals 4 is to 6 is to 12. Now let's simplify it. Divide everything by 2. So the simplified combined ratio is A is to B is to C equals 2 is to 3 is to 6. Now here is a cool trick called the mirror and approach. Let's use it for this example. A is to B equals 4 is to 6. B is to C equals 2 is to 4. Now, instead of just simplifying directly, let's cross multiply. Multiply the first number of A is to B by the first number of B is to C. So first, 4 into 2 equals 8, 6 into 4 equals 24 and 6 into 2 equals 12. So the combined ratio of A is to B is to C is 8 is to 12 is to 24. Let's simplify this by dividing everything by 4. So the final simplified ratio is A is to B is to C equals 2 is to 3 is to 6. Now let's tackle a more complex one. If A is to B equals 2 is to 6, B is to C equals 3 is to 4 and C is to D equals 4 is to 5, How do we find A is to B is to C is to D? Here is the step-by-step process. For step 1, write down all the ratios as you see them. Step 2, fill in the missing values by neighbor number or near number of blank space. The ratios look like this. Now multiply vertically. For A, 2 into 3, 6, 6 into 4, 24. For B, 6 into 3, 18, 18 into 4, 72. For C, 6 into 4, 24, 24 into 4, 96. For D, 6 into 4, 24, 24 into 5, 120. So A is to B is to C is to D equals 24 is to 72 is to 96 is to 120. Now, simplify the ratio by dividing everything by 24. So we get A is to B is to C is to D equals 1 is to 3 is to 4 is to 5. Now, let's try the shortcut trick for the same question. We know A is to B equals 2 is to 6, B is to C equals 3 is to 4, C is to D equals 4 is to 5. So, multiply first. 2 into 3 equals 6, 6 into 4 equals 24. So, this for A. Next, 6 into 4 equals 24, 24 into 5 equals 120. For D, 6 into 3 equals 18, 18 into 4 equals 72. For B, 6 into 4 equals 24, 24 into 4 equals 96. For C, so after simplifying by 24, the ratio is A is to B is to C is to D equals 1 is to 3 is to 4 is to 5. So that's a wrap for today. We have covered the basics of ratios, how to write them in different forms, and some awesome tricks for simplifying and solving ratios problems. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more math tips and tricks. Thanks for watching and see you next time.